Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We're not here April Fool's Day.
We're not live. And this is all AI, by the way. You know, we said, all right, make an AI live and read the comments. And DoctorNelson's in Puerto Rico on his little farm.
I would like to be, actually, but I got some things to do there, so I'm going to have to take a trip and work from there. Anyways,
it's possible.
Hashtag KMT for a chance to win.
DrKiltz's hat.
Right? A hat.
Are we sending the same one over and over and over?
Know. Yeah. It's my. I keep on having to get a new one, right? A little bit of sweat and grease, and right. I want it.
Let us know where you're watching from. I am in Central Florida. And Dr. Kiltz, are you up in New York?
I'm still in Florida. I'm in Sarasota another week. I go back north on Wednesday next week.
And where is our guest?
I'm from Tampa Bay. Yeah, so I'm right there with you guys. I'm here in Florida.
Nice.
Where in Florida?
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, you went to our. You look familiar. You went to our Tampa meetup, right?
I did. I did. Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. Dr. Kiltz and I broke meat together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. If you have any questions for her, we're going to be talking to her in a moment, and put it in the chat, QQQ in front of it, if possible. And
I do have something to say. A lot of people reached out to me yesterday because it was the end of a discount on the Kiltz Health certification course, and there was something wrong with the discount code. So if you ran into that, just email me and we will get you in the course right away. Right away.
Course is $39.99 or $3.99. It's under $400 for everybody. Again, it's worth $1,000. We've discounted it to 400-ish, and we're also. I think we're going to throw in with that a free 30 minutes or 15-minute coaching.
A 30-minute coaching call plus really they get the 30-day to carnivore course. That's a $70 value. They get 5 of your books. That's like a $300 value. You're almost getting the course for free.
It's $1,000 value. It's $100,000 value.
How much? What is the value of your health? That's the question. And if you knew the knowledge to heal yourself, what is that value?
An investment in your health and wellness. And we're guys and gals gone carnivore. That's who we are today, right?
That is right. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Where's my guy gone carnivore? That's a good question, Dr. Kiltz. I like that. Ooh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, she's leaving the guy gone carnivore chat. You got any takers in the chat?
Yeah. Hey.
Well, we're putting together a connection app. I don't know if it's a dating app or a connection app. Let's put it together, Ollie.
It's in the Kiltz Mighty Tribe. Connect to people
on KMT.
Yeah.
There you go.
Let's put a KMT dating app connection. Connect with someone in your area or around the globe, whatever you want. All right, Elliot?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, the app already has a connect feature.
Yeah, you just DM each other.
All right, good. Well, again, it's a meetup, right?
It gives you all the people that live close to you, and you determine how far you want to go. Check it out.
Yeah.
All right. B, please introduce yourself to everybody and tell us your carnivore story. And if you have any questions for her, put it in the chat and we'll be asking her. All questions are for her.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. So I'm Girl Gone Carnivore. I have been carnivore for almost 4 years now. My journey started about when I was a young teen, 13, 14 years old. I was always looking for the right diet. I've been on this journey. And of course, like most young girls who are passionate about My Little Ponies, I decided to go vegetarian, of course, and then that evolved into veganism, and that evolved into gaseous esophagus reflux disease. So that was, by the time I was 16, I was put on protein pump inhibitors, and I was on those drugs for about 10 years. Those are the kind of medications you're only really supposed to be on for about 3 months. Yeah, 10 years. Doctors really had no solution for me. So about the time I was 26, my brother told me about CrossFit, and he mentioned to me about the paleo diet. And I was like, okay, maybe this is something that I could try, because, he was having some medical issues as well. So I thought, hey, you know what? Let me go ahead and try this. So for a little while, it did help. It really helped me get off the medication, but it wasn't helping me with other health issues that I realized I was also having. Because when you're dealing with one really annoying issue, you're not really thinking, why do my joints hurt all the time? Why do I feel bloated all the time? Why am I just kind of depressed all the time? So I went through ups and downs with the diet, with the paleo diet. I decided, okay, I'm definitely going to stay away from gluten. So I would say that I was on kind of a standard American diet, but like gluten-free. So I was still doing like gluten-free breads and just all those kinds of like things you get at the store in boxes, right? Stuff like that. I decided I wanted to start working out again. I was just getting to a point where I was like, I really just want to start doing this. I really miss CrossFit. I miss all of it. So I just started working out in my garage, and naturally I was getting really sore. So I decided to go to my massage therapist, and I hadn't seen him in a while. And when I walked in, he looked like a whole different person. And I was like, Paul, what are you doing? Like, why do you look so different? Like, what is going on? You're like glowing. I was completely perplexed. And he goes, I'm on a carnivore diet. And I just busted out laughing. And I'm like, what do you mean you're on a carnivore diet? And he's like, I just eat meat. And I go, no, you don't. No, you don't. You do not just eat meat. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And so, of course, he's telling me about it, and we're talking. He's giving me my massage and everything. And it took me a couple weeks, but I was really marinating on this. Like, oh, man, he looked so good. He sounded so good. I was like, I'm just going to try it. So like me, I can't do anything where I'm just going to go halfway in. I gotta rip the Band-Aid. I just went full blown strict carnivore. And within 2 weeks, all of my symptoms were gone. And I'm talking no joint pain. My muscle, I could actually start to see the definition. I could actually start to see the abs in my stomach, which I had never seen before, unless I completely starved myself, right? Not sustainable. Always gained the weight back anyway. It was, yo-yo up and down. So I just was like, oh my gosh, and a lot of it is water weight. And I was, at the same time, I was struggling with a little bit of carnivore flu. I kept getting Charlie horses in my legs. Like, what is going on? There's a lot of things that you need to figure out as you're on that journey, because it is very strange. Your body is literally going back to its true form. That's what it felt like, but it was definitely it wasn't pleasant. I'm not going to lie to you. After about 2 weeks, that's when I was like, oh my gosh, can I keep this up? Because at that point, I felt like my body was completely detoxing. And it actually got to a point I could not stop coughing. And I think that was the years and years and years of things just living inside of me finally coming out. I decided after about 3 months to incorporate some other foods. I've come to find that what works for me might not be for everyone, but I have found this is what works for me. And I do incorporate dairy into my diet. Right now, I'm only on 1 serving a day because I'm on a cut right now. My trainer's my trainer and I were talking about, I just want to cut. I enjoy at this point just kind of manipulating my body. It's just fun to me. Like, I'm a power lifter. I just like to experiment and see where can I take it next, but it's not something that I plan on like sticking with. I'm just going to, hit a spot, take some photos, and then probably just kind of go back to my everyday, right? Like, sometimes just, but yeah, that's kind of fun to me. So yeah, here I am 4 years later, totally embracing not just the diet, but the whole lifestyle. And I feel like I'm slowly getting to a point where I'm, like I said, it's now my way of life. And, I'm actually in the process right now of creating the very first carnivore cereal made of all regenerative farmed pigskins. So more to come with that, but it's called Carnivore Krispies, and I'm super excited to bring it to the masses once it's ready for distribution. So just like I said, I mean, I'm just taking this all on. It's very exciting, super exciting.
What is pigskin made from?
What is pigs?
Okay, what is the molecular structure of the jar or bag of the skin?
So protein, fat, is that?
Well, is there any fat in it actually? How do they make it?
They fry it, right?
Well, they take the skin and they fry it.
Right.
What temperature is it fried at? Hot. What happens to the fat in the skin?
But like,
it melts away. There's no fat left. It's proteins and sugars left.
Okay.
That's again, when we eat, so it's high in protein and sugar. There's no fat. That's the craziness. So if you're eating that cereal, what do you want to add to it?
Well, we're going to add some milk, right?
You're going to add butter and not milk.
Well, to eat the cereal, you would want to
butter and cream.
Cream, yeah, or
cream. Because milk is full of what?
Well, if it's not raw, right?
Well, it's sugar.
Well, okay.
And protein, but again, I mean, milk. You're right, but because the what do we call what? I'm sorry. What are the pigskin? What do they call them?
Pork rinds.
Pork rinds.
Pork rinds
is low in fat.
Okay, so yeah. So
I'm eating it.
Well,
I'm
now
eating your cereal.
You're helping me with my recipe, Dr. Kiltz. So I do appreciate it. I really do. No, truly, because we are in the R&D phase. So there's nothing like, we're in that process. So yes. And actually I use half and half. I know.
No. Because pork rinds are low in what? Fat. Yeah, there's no fat in it. It's high in sugars and amino acids. Because it's the glycocalyx of the skin.
Gotcha. Okay.
And you melted away the fat. That's why when people cook meat, what happens to the fat? It melts away. That's all. I'm just sharing something stupid. I apologize.
No, you're making a very good point. And these are things that as the Krispies are evolving, this is what's great about the R&D phase. And what's great about it is I can already talk about it because I'm already in the process of like getting my trademark and all of that. So like, I'm excited that I can actually even openly talk about it. So yeah,
I agree with you. I mean, we're all looking, but the one thing about pork rinds, everyone thinks, oh, let's make everything out of pork rinds, but it's low fat.
Well, it's funny. I made gator bites, and part of my recipe is using bacon grease. I keep my bacon grease. Nothing goes to waste around here. And so then I was frying I did egg on the gator, and then put the pork rind like panko on it, and then fried it in the bacon grease, and it was so delicious. I'm not gonna lie, gator's really good. Like
What's gator? What do you call it?
Gator
bites. So
gator bites.
So I guess you could go to Rick and even do some iguana bites. I mean, I'm thinking of iguana as kind of like an alligator.
Yeah, it probably tastes like chicken. I find alligator is really just a mixture between like fish and chicken. And it's like the perfect balance for me because I'm not like huge on fishy fish, and I'm not a real big chicken eater, full disclosure. It's a great combination for me. So
well, we had the question the other day about fat in iguanas and alligators.
There's not much fat.
Where is it?
The fat on a alligator
or a iguana.
An iguana.
I looked it up the other day when we were talking about it. It's in the tail.
That makes sense. Okay.
So, and it's in the viscera. So remember, the gut of an alligator gets big, right? The abdomen, because the visceral fat is so the liver makes the fat and it stores it in the viscera and the tail.
See, who knew I was
kind of interesting.
I'm learning things I never knew. This is what happens.
I didn't either. So in fact, so tell us a little bit about your site that you share your message on, Girl Gone Carnivore.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about your mission and what you're doing online with all those stakes in your background and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. So my biggest thing right now is I'm a survivor of betrayal trauma. Something pretty tragic happened to me. And as a result, there's two things that came out of it, some realizations with the carnivore diet. So the first one was I realized something was going on, that something wasn't right in my world. And that's because I had been carnivore for a couple years. And so when you become carnivore as a woman, especially because our cycles are monthly, you become so in tune with your body. You just get to know yourself on a level that you may not be able to get to eating, say, a standard American diet or really any diet other than carnivore. This is, again, lived experience. I have lived a lot of different diets and a lot of different ways of lifestyles. So I realized something wasn't right. And then actually my skin started to break out before my mind really was catching up with what was happening in my environment. And when so actually I broke out in, well, I don't know if I want to say the exact medical condition, but it was on my arm. And I was like, this is kind of weird. Like, first of all, I'm too young to get this. And there was a time when I had gotten it before, when I was in a very, very highly stressed situation, graduating from grad school. And then I got it again during the very beginning of COVID. There was a lot of fears there. I was a new mom. There was a lot going on. I adopted kids, and that's a whole nother story. But anyway, so there had been times when this had happened before. And again, it was very high stress situations, but I also was not carnivore. Okay. When it had happened a couple times before. So fast forward, I'm carnivore a couple years, my skin's starting to break out again. I'm like, something's not right here. Something's going on. Come to find out, something very terrible was happening. And I immediately stopped it. I just like, okay. Once I realized what was actually, my mind finally caught up with what was happening. So I did a lot of research because what I was experiencing, I felt was pretty abnormal. And what I had found was, just to kind of sum it up, is typically it takes somebody about 3 years to recover from what I had experienced. I was able to recover with under a year. And I truly believe it has everything to do, and it comes back to the carnivore diet. I was able to have a clear mind. I was able to use the gym as an outlet and therapy for myself to get over what had happened to me. And then this is kind of the final, like, Phoenix rising kind of moment for me, because now what I want to do is protect other women from toxic relationships. And I feel that they can do that with a carnivore diet. I feel that when you regulate your hormones, when you are very low, if at all inflamed, you are able to recognize and see if you are being abused. When you wake up, when you have that realization, like, something's not right, I feel like you're able to tap into your instincts and your intuition better, because again, your body's not focused on trying to heal itself. Like, I was already healed in so many ways. Again, carnivore is a journey. You're not just going to, be good within a couple years, especially if you've had years and years and years and years of all kinds of health issues, right? It takes time. You're going to have kind of a miracle moment, and then you're going to realize, wow, there's a lot more healing that I need to do. But regardless, when you strip yourself of all those foods, seed oils, all of that, you're just able to focus more on really reality, I feel. And so you're just more in tune. And so the message that I want to spread is to women is, if you're suspecting something, go on a carnivore diet, clear your mind. And then if you have to get out of it, you can use carnivore to then really help you heal from the inside out. Yes. So
Dr. Kiltz, you're muted.
It gives us mental and emotional strength, that because, like every other organ system of our body is damaged by plants, protein, and the microbial toxins, the carnivore gives our every organ system, including the mind, the strength that it didn't have before. That's what I've found, because I agree with you. It's like, I focused on my emotions and mental stuff for so long, and then carnivore it was like, aha.
It's true. And what I really love too is I do like to fast, and I do occasionally fast for spiritual reasons. And when I say fast, sometimes I mean, not going without food, but sometimes I just mean fasting from red meat, actually, which can be just as difficult for me because I thrive off of red meat. But occasionally I will fast for spiritual reasons. And I actually think that carnivore makes that transition a lot easier, right? Because your insulin's not spiking up and down. You're not going through waves of irregularities. So you're able to stay a lot steadier. And to me, it's a little more survivable, right? And then it also helps me tap into my more spiritual side, which is great too. I actually, as crazy it might sound, I actually feel like carnivore brought me even closer to God. So there's all those kinds of things as well. And I've had, it's funny, I was just doing a podcast and I said, when somebody asks you like, well, how does carnivore make you feel? Or like, you can't really explain it. To me, it's almost like a mystical experience. It's like, I can tell you till I'm blue in the face that I felt God, that God talked to me, that I actually experienced that. But until you actually really experience it for yourself, it is really hard for me to explain fully. Like you gotta feel it, you've gotta know it for yourself. It's a red pill, right?
3 magic words. Read the book. The 3 magic words by U.S. Anderson. Ultimately, Jesus Christ gave us the simple story. Look in the mirror, stand still, and know that I am God. He said it's in us. We're it. Tag. But it gives us clarity. That's the beauty of it.
It's true, right? And if this is a temple, we need to be giving the temple the right nutrition for it to thrive, and that's the thing. And that's where I'm hoping that I can encourage and influence women who have been through a lot of domestic issues, feel comfortable coming to me, talking to me. I already have women that tell me that I have literally had women say to me, I have never been able to say this to someone and feel comfortable enough to say it. And to me, that it's just one of the most beautiful things that I can create this safe space for women to feel comfortable enough to do that. Now, oh, by the way, that my website's coming. This is just a placeholder. This is not my website officially. So just, I've got things, I've got things in the works. I will be getting, I'm actually in production right now with my marketing team. We're going to be updating the website and having a bunch of things. But yeah, my Instagram is definitely the place to go right now. I am also working on my Facebook page, Girl Gone Carnivore. I'm trying the best I can to get that message out there. So, but yeah, my Instagram for sure would be the best place for women or men. I mean, I'm not excluding men from this arena. It's just that, as we know, involved unfortunately in these kinds of situations. And so again, I just want women to feel like they can talk to me, and I never say anything. I'm just there to essentially hold them in their space and then encourage them to, take care of themselves, because at the end of the day, obviously they weren't being taken care of. They've got a lot of trauma. Trauma is just debilitating at times. And so I just want them to be able to feel comfortable. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm not any of that. I'm not a doctor. I'm just
your coach. You're a coach.
I'm a coach and a friend, right?
Cheerleader. A cheerleader.
Exactly.
Well, isn't it true that in some way, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger? And ultimately, all of us have some drama, and how we're taking this and using it to strengthen us and help others at the same time. I mean, to me, Jesus Christ is the master of love, kindness, forgiveness, generosity. And ultimately, when we learn to love and forgive, we change the world for all of us. And so, he was the master of living through trauma and shared how we can all. So ultimately, all of us in some way have trauma.
Without a doubt. For sure. I think we all have either some kind of childhood, something, right? Something that we need. And I've even had women tap into that just based off of watching things that I post, talking to me. They're not afraid now to kind of face some of the tragic things that have happened to them as they were growing up, or again, if it was something that happened in college or whatever that experience was. Is I think just being able to tap into it and recognize it and start processing it and being able to heal. Again, this is a lifestyle. Let's start with the diet, but you will find that you will start cutting out a lot of other toxic things in your life. And that might even be people. Okay. Right. Like, unfortunately, look, you can love them from a distance, but sometimes there's a difference, right? There's a difference between forgiveness and access. You can forgive someone, right? But that doesn't mean that they get access to you.
Love and forgiveness is critical in life to all of us, because the problem with most of us, we're carrying the pain throughout our life, even though we've eliminated the access or connections. And when we clarify drama is more of a mental construct, and you eliminate the physical. Again, most of us have eliminated the physical part of it, but we carry it. And I think that's what you're teaching all of us, is that, and men and women, boys and girls, young and old, drama. And we need coaches and cheerleaders to help heal more than anything. And Carnivore, I mean, Christ and Carnivore, what two dudes in ways of living do better than that?
It's true. I mean, there's something to be said, right? I mean, the calendar literally revolves around his life. So, I mean, we can't deny, I mean, I guess you can if you really want to, but I mean, and that's the thing too. Like when people come to me and say, well, I can't do that. And I say, okay, look, I'm just going to be the example. I'm not going to argue with you. I don't need to argue because I feel like in so many ways, I'm already the proof. So that's okay. And then I've had people come back and say, you know what, I think I am going to try this. So, you know what I mean? And that's everybody's journey, right? That we can't, I feel like when you try to force something or make people feel like they can't be comfortable, that's negating everything that I'm trying to do, right? So I'm just trying to essentially set an example. My example is a little crazy and wild, and I like to use a lot of humor too. My tagline is live wild and free. So it's kind of like my mantra. I know that it might not be for everyone, but find your Girl Gone Carnivore in your own way and how you need to do it for you and what works for you. Just hopefully to get there, you do take on some of the carnivore diet and ways so you can get to that place. But yeah, I just, I'm not real big on like making people feel like they have to do something. Yeah. It wouldn't negate the whole live wild and free. So.
I always say dead people have no troubles or problems.
Right.
If you have one, be grateful. And that's what we're all here to do. That's why this is a conversation. And yeah. It's all together. Alia, are there any comments or questions?
I have a question. In what ways the carnivore diet provides structure when other parts of your life felt chaotic?
That is such a good question. I'm going to start with and I feel like we are all victims of this in a way. When you're eating a standard American diet, you are becoming addicted to certain foods. And your life ends up revolving around food. And you don't I felt like I was always hungry. I feel like I was never satiated. When people would say to me, oh, I just lost my appetite. I'm like, I swear there's nothing that would make me lose my appetite. I truly felt that way. And so when you go carnivore, first of all, and this was something that I started preaching about a year into the diet, you're going to have so much time on your hands that you will actually be able to start organizing your life better because you're putting your energy into things other than food. You find the foods that work for you. I essentially eat the same things every day, right? I don't have to really guess what I'm going to eat. I have it pretty structured. I know the foods that work for me. I can take all that other time that I used to spend thinking about food, preparing food, all of these things, which I mean, you still have to cook some foods and meal prep and stuff, but like, it's very simplified, right? It's very simplified. So when you simplify your plate, you come to find that you can simplify your life and you can actually then add things into your life and create even more routines. Like, part of this lifestyle is getting sunshine and grounding. So every morning I'm going to get up, I'm going to put my feet on the ground. I'm going to enjoy the sun for a few minutes. Then, I'm able to, in the afternoon, go for a nice 30-minute walk because now I have structured that in as part of my lunch instead of spending the entire hour or half hour, however much time I have on eating. I can now go to the gym in the evenings because I'm so structured now. I have such a routine. I feel so good. I have enough energy still at 6, 7 o'clock at night that I'm able then now to add that and maintain that in my life. So I hope that answered your question. But to me, it has enabled me to create a better structure and really hone in and take care of my health. And again, the better you feel, the more you want to do. So I'm able to work full time. I'm raising 3 kids. I go to the gym. I power lift. I've done competitions. I'm working on my Carnivore Krispies. I'm doing these podcasts and interviews. I even flew out to LA recently for something that's coming out on Sunday that I can't mention quite yet, but there is something coming out. So I'm just saying I'm able to take on all of these things because I feel good. I'm 42 years old, by the way.
Young.
Nice.
42 years young.
I'm 42 years young.
You're young. I'm 70 years young.
That's
I've
insane.
never felt younger in my life. Insane, right?
I feel better at 42 than I did at 18.
Yep.
Okay. And I mean that wholeheartedly. I honestly wonder sometimes because I was pretty fast in middle school and high school. Like I was a pretty fast runner. Could you imagine if I was on carnivore diet at 16, 17, 18 years old? I mean, I'm not going to say that I could have gone to the Olympics. I don't, but like.
Sure, you could have gone to the Olympics.
I don't know.
Gone to the Olympics.
I definitely could. I bet you I could have gotten like a track scholarship, something. You know what I mean? Like I know because I mean, one of my greatest achievements through this whole journey is I deadlifted 315 pounds. And it's like kind of my personal claim to fame that I was able to pull that much weight. I truly attribute it to the diet because I just felt so good. And believe it or not, I wasn't really that sore. I mean, I trained to that level. And right now I'm at 275. I'm retraining myself to try to get back up to over 300. So yeah.
I live lift 155 every day.
I see.
Is that your body?
This guy. No, you can't.
But I mean, you know, it's sort of, but isn't it, you know, we're always pushing ourselves. What's the next push besides the deadlift?
You're absolutely right. You know, so I'm also working on my back squat and my bench, right? Because I want to be able to do all 3. My goal is to hopefully hit a total of 750 pounds. So we'll see. We'll see. But again, that's what carnivore does, right? It helps you set goals. You get to a point where you want to start improving these other things in your life, and yeah, you're able to do it because you feel so good.
Do you have any books you recommend?
Oh, okay. So one book that I just wrapped up is called The Vegetarian Myth by Larry Keith. I read that book as part of a research for the event that I went out to in LA. It's a fantastic book. It really gets down to the ideology of veganism. So it helps you understand the mentality. And then it gives you a really good, it gives you a really good perspective. Really, at the end of the day, there is no hierarchy. There's only hunger. I love that line from the book. And so I felt like I learned a lot from that book. There's another book by Stephen Ronaldo. He wrote The Meat Eater. This is a book. He's a hunter. I really enjoyed that book. It gave me such an appreciation for hunters. And I'm actually really excited because my friend and her husband, they live out in Georgia. They live on over 100+ acre farm, and they do hunting. And they text me like, hey, do you want to hunt this winter? And I was like, yes. Like, I've never done it. I've processed a cow, believe it or not. My brother has a farm out in Texas, and I went out there and processed a cow. That was an amazing experience. But anyway, back to the books. This is a really good book. He teaches you like what to expect with different animals and what they might taste like, how you can prepare them, and just like that whole experience. It's really cool. And then right now I'm reading Brain Energy, which was recommended to me actually when I came out to the meetup. So I'm learning more about ketosis, and how that influences the brain and helps people recover from trauma. So I would say at least those 3 books. And then, of course, I have to say Courtney Luna's cookbook, because she mentions me in the book. She actually gave me a shout out for the Carnivore Krispies, which honestly, she's the one who started putting the wheels in my head. Like, I need to take this somewhere. I absolutely love her to death. So I would highly recommend her cookbook. She's a fantastic person. Just such a lovely person. So sweet. So those would be my top, I guess, 4 right now. And then, of course, the Bible, right? So
Number 1. Let's do a rapid fire.
Oh, well, I was going to say just real quick, if somebody's questioning faith, read St. Thomas Aquinas. Very, very good stuff. Very, 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 very good stuff. Very, very theological, which I love. Maybe not for everybody, but I do recommend anything written by St. Thomas Aquinas. Good stuff. So, okay.
To everyone, do you guys have an opinion on Redmond salts, good or not?
I'm not going to say whether it's good or not. What I am going to say is that I use Salter. That's the salt of choice for me. I struggled, as I mentioned earlier in the show, with a lot of Charlie horses, especially in the bottom of my feet. And ever since I started using Salter products, I don't get it anymore. So that's what I recommend. Does anybody else have an opinion? But that's what I would say.
I want Rick's opinion.
Rick, what's your opinion? His opinion is somewhere, but I'm going to ask the next question. Candace, how did your digestive system adjust to all the fat?
That is such a good question. And I struggled, full disclosure. I definitely struggled. I had to go on a little bit lower fat, again, because my stomach, I have, again, a lot of issues with my stomach because of the years of being on the PPIs, which lowered the acid in my stomach. So right? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Dr. Kiltz. So like, I had to just slowly introduce fat. That was probably the hardest thing that I had to do as I was transitioning. But now I don't really have a problem. My body will tell me we're good. To be full disclosure, the only time I'll measure something is if I'm trying to like write down a recipe so I can share it with other people, which is something I'm in the process of doing for my book. But like, I had to slowly increase my fat intake over time to find a good balance. I was very, very protein heavy in the beginning because it was a bit of a struggle. But again, everybody's body's different. I've heard a lot of people say I went full-blown carnivore. I eat copious amounts of fat and I'm totally fine. So, but they probably didn't have years and years and years on PPIs. I was also a bit of a drinker since essentially my first drink when I was 16, and then I didn't quit drinking till I was 36, 37, so about 20 years. So I've been alcohol free for almost 6 years. I'm coming up on 6 years this year. So like, I did a lot of damage right to my body. So it just took time, right? It just, like I said, it took time for my body to heal. I hope that helped.
Yes. So Allie M. My Chit is asking, how do I get rid of diabetes? But this person is type 1 diabetic.
By the way, I think it's all my shit.
Oh, okay. How do you get rid of diabetes as a type 1 diabetic?
Am I allowed to pass the mic to the doctors? Because I don't know if I am qualified enough to answer that question. Full disclosure, I don't know.
Well, pancreatic and or islet cell transplants.
And a carnivore diet will help.
No, carnivore diet. Again, you're not a type 1 diabetic if carnivore helps. You're something else. again, our ability to diagnose things is not very accurate. You weren't. If you make insulin, you are not a type 1 diabetic.
This is a very important question. Carnivore, and where do I get the background?
So, okay, yeah, this is the infamous blanket, steak blanket that I bought for a photo shoot. And now I use it as my backdrop, as kind of my signature, right? But I got it off of Amazon. It's an Amazon purchase. Yeah.
Love that.
Beautiful.
And actually, look at this. Do you see this here? I got hungry. my dog did that. My dog.
Jeff's wife, are there any AI platforms while training carnivore research? I've tried ChatGPT, but feel like I keep slipping back into conventional advice.
Can I do a plug real quick? So I'm a big supporter of the Eat Me app. And the Eat Me app is actually in an R&D phase with something like this. So I'm really glad that somebody's asking, because that means that there's a type of demand. So please stay tuned and get in touch with me on my Instagram, and I can get you connected with the Eat Me app. And, we're obviously going to want people testing it out and things like that. So that I'm so happy somebody asked that, because that's pretty cool.
Well, are there any AI platforms? They're there now.
Pretty good.
Are they here now?
They're all there now. Every AI platform, but there's only only
read the statement again, because
I lost it. Gemini's good. If you start with I'm carnivore, they'll keep the conversation carnivore.
Yeah. And ultimately, do we need another scientific study? Remember, science is highly paid for, bought and paid for. R&D usually means what? Money and proprietary, which ultimately we don't need, because we don't need another study to tell us the truth that we know from evolution. And our individual stories are here.
Yeah.
And there's only one study that needs to be done. And who is it?
I'm going to tell you right now, if anybody's questioning whether carnivore works or not, they need to check out Boston Carnivore, because her story, right? Well, her story is unbelievable to me. Even as a carnivore, I'm like, no.
But there's only actually, remember, all disease is caused by a plant protein, low animal fat diet. Done. All of it. Now, we are going to die, but ultimately, there's only one study you need to look at, and that's yourself. Do it, give it 30, 60, 90 days, and that's all. Yeah. Because remember, human beings are highly conflicted in believing other people's stories. And so we will see someone else's story and we'll go like, I don't believe it, right? You must do it yourself.
You do. And that's how I know she's telling
no science, right? Nobody. I'm just telling you what I've learned as a physician or as a podcaster, as a crazy man, because it's like, well, you're different. No, you're not. You're a Ferrari. But that's my 2 cents. Sorry about that.
I skipped because I want to make sure this question gets answered, and I'm going to answer it. Tammy, 62-year-old female at a serious stall, struggling with lizard brain for sugar and eating enough calories. Tammy, darling, you need to talk to one of our coaches. You need to do a discovery call, and they're going to help you figure this out. Sometimes the internet advice only goes so far. You need to have a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
There you go. So,
what's the best? But the internet has given everyone access to everything.
Correct.
You don't need to pay anyone to get it anymore, except I guess you have to have a device that you could get through into the system.
Yeah,
or like you said, like a coach. Yeah. I'm sorry.
A coaching call, 100%.
Just sometimes
a lizard brain. A lizard brain. I don't know. I would guess if you asked Rick about iguanas and alligators, but basically it's our ancient reptilian brain, right? And are we addicted to sugar? Why? Why?
It literally messes with your brain. Like
No, it gets you fat.
Well,
In
yeah.
our ancient environment, we are addicted to sugar because it gets you fat. But sugar did not exist in the ancient environment very long. Short bursts, very sweet. Brain says eat it. You get fat. You survive the famine, the hibernation, the migration, the gestation. This is really a stupidly simple answer.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with you.
Right. No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Okay, let's do the next one. We got 5 minutes of questions. All right, here we go. So yesterday you had beef and eggs. What kind of beef did you have? How did you cook it?
Yesterday you had beef and eggs. Wait, how do they know what I was eating?
Maybe that was for somebody else in the chat. Maybe that's for somebody else in the chat.
Maybe, yeah, because I don't.
That's okay, but you can answer it.
Yeah.
DrKiltz, you want to answer that? Cow beef.
Right. Yeah. Well, okay. So I do like to source my meat from local butchers when I get that opportunity. So I prefer, grass-fed beef, and then eggs. I try to get, I do buy a higher end egg. I like my yolks to be orange, not yellow. And I try to get ones where they're being fed an actual natural diet, which is not just grain fed. Chickens are omnivores. They will literally eat one another. So they're dinosaurs, essentially. So the more pure form of an egg you can get, I would love to have my own chickens. That's a goal of mine for someday. I would love to have my own chickens. They're so fascinating. I hope was that the question?
That was good. Yeah. They said it was for somebody else, but okay. Thank you for answering. Okay. So what do you eat on a day you lift?
Okay. So really that's almost every day, right? So my diet essentially stays the same. I try to get at least around 12 to 15 ounces of red meat during a sitting. If I'm training real hard, I do like to also include bone marrow in my diet. I'll have about right now I'm only having a half serving of Greek yogurt, and I may also eat then, like I said, this week I had gator bites. Just to kind of switch things up a little bit. I'm actually defrosting some buffalo right now. I'm going to have some bison this week as part of my red meat. So essentially, it's making sure that I have at least some type of red meat at every meal. I typically eat about 3 meals a day. And if I'm not eating red meat, then I'm most likely eating pork. That would be like my next meat that I would eat. It's typically red meat, so beef or pork is essentially.
Do you work out fasted?
Sometimes I do, not always by choice. Just sometimes I'm just so busy, but I have worked out fasted. And as long as I'm just lifting, I'm pretty good. If I'm going to do any kind of like high intense cardio, I can do it, but I'm not going to do it for a long period of time. I'm going to do maybe something under 10 minutes or so and just really get a good burn in.
Nice. I think that was it. Yeah, we're out of questions. Congrats, Lance. You just want to have
Lance, congratulations.
Amazing. So am I allowed to tell the audience where they can find me again? Just so
No.
Here you go. That's your Instagram page.
No, we're not here to share any of it. All of it.
All the things.
As you can see, I'm subscribed.
See, look at that. There you go. So yeah, I would love to get in touch with more people, build the community. It's fantastic.
Is this complicated?
Is it complicated?
Complicated.
Is what complicated?
Carnivore.
Oh, carnivore? No. I feel it's the complete opposite.
It's so simple.
It's so simple. It really is. It's so simple, and you can have so much fun. And again, I have found, for the most part, that carnivore people in general are some of the nicest, most open. Like, there really is no TMI when you're a carnivore, because we talk about everything, right? Like, we really do. Poop. Right? Like, we talk about it all. So I have found carnivores to be some of the least judgmental, very open, respectful, nicest people I have ever met, truly. So the community is fantastic. And so, yeah, it's been great making friends and making memories.
As you think, so shall ye be. Are we all truly carnivores? Yes. This is our evolution. You're a Ferrari, you're a lion. And so as you think, so shall ye be. What's the simplicity of carnivore? Eat meat. Done.
That's it.
That's it.
Eat meat, repeat.
Eat meat, repeat. Done, simple, easy, right? And meat is our food, nothing else. Okay, you had a French fry last year. I don't care, right?
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
Do proteins and sugars metabolize the same?
No.
Yes, they do.
I knew, you know what? I was going to say yes.
Okay, amino acids and simple sugars. There are 9 sugars in humans. There are about 21.
Because our bodies produce insulin.
Insulin comes from the pancreas. The blood flow from the pancreas goes to the liver. The hepatic portal stream takes in water-soluble molecules. Amino acids and sugars are water-soluble, by the way, and they go to the liver. Right. Insulin goes to the liver. And what does it do with sugars and amino acids? It makes fat. It makes very low density lipoproteins, such a complicated molecule.
Yeah.
It stores them in the liver first. Fatty liver is not pathology, it's biology. And then it ships it to every cell of the body. And the majority go to the adipocytes, which build fat so you can survive, period.
I mean, it makes it,
but
sometimes it makes too much sense, right? Like,
most carnivores eat a high fat or a low fat diet.
I think this is for Dr. Kiltz here. You're muted, Alia.
B, take a stab at this one.
Well, we're here for encouragement. The first one is I'm a lion. And basically, you get the trash can and you throw everything that doesn't fit a lion's diet. And that's number one. Number two is have your freezer and refrigerator full. I went to Mitch's, and Mitch it was bacon, eggs, butter, beef, bingo. Nothing more you need, right? And then but I am a lion. And then the other way to be encouraged is to show up on A Girl Gone Carnivore, on KMT with Ollie and DoctorNelson.
You know, I'm going to say something as a pep talk real quick. And you might not think that this is the best way of saying it, but I have found that when you go off the diet, honestly, that can be one of the greatest ways to realize how important carnivore is for you. So when you decide, like you hit a stall, right? And you're just like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to eat meat. I just don't want to do this, right? Go back to how you were eating before for a minute.
Go ahead.
You will come back. I can guarantee you will come back, because you will oh my gosh, now all of a sudden my joints are starting to hurt again, or ooh, I'm getting these headaches again, or ooh, my stomach, I'm bloated, like ooh, I'm not looking as good as I was when I was strict. I'm telling you, sometimes that can be the best remedy. Now I'm
not.
I'm letting her finish.
Time.
All right.